Welcome to Sex and Happiness with Laurie Handlers. Amazing sex and intimacy are just around the corner. While Laurie puts the finishing touches on her new book, Sex and Happiness Over 60, please enjoy this show. It's one of her favorites from the Sex and Happiness archives.
Today, I am joined by Michael Gibson and Lance Cole, and we are talking about, first of all, we're in the Laurie Handlers Academy for Men, and we're on the Tribal Fire podcast and Sex and Happiness. God, there's so many. That's like Peter Piper picked a pack of peppers. Okay, there's a lot of tongue twisting. Anyway, today we're talking about pressure, sovereignty, and safety. And these are things that come up in the world of sacred sexuality all the time. It comes up in the world of #MeToo. It comes up in our world. Let's just say it comes up in our world. And it comes up whether you know it or not. So my preamble to this is to just say, consider when you're about to have sex with somebody or be intimate with somebody without sex, but some way of being intimate, there could be pressure in the other person and you don't know it. There could be pressure in you and you're not saying, and neither of you are feeling sovereign and nobody's feeling safe. And that's what we're going to talk about on this show.
And on top of that, I think what will really be beneficial to everybody is that we'll give you a technique to be able to dispel all of it. So that's exciting.
That's very exciting.
That's very exciting.
All right. So,
yes. Hi,
Lance,
everybody.
You said...
What's happening?
Lance, do you feel pressure?
I feel pressure.
Well, the camera's on you now.
The camera's on me.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. No, I don't feel pressure. No.
But
I just want to say hello.
In our last show, you were talking about someone that you connected with at a really level 2 ISTA workshop is a super deep dive into what it is to be alive.
Yes.
And what it would be like to not be alive, and then what it would be like to rejoice in being alive again. And you met someone who said to you that she felt pressured. She said, if I think I'm quoting right, why do I always feel pressured to have sex with someone?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. She always feels pressure to have sex with somebody, and she didn't want to. She didn't want to feel that anymore. You know, it's not that she didn't want to engage or didn't want to have sex. It's just that she didn't want to feel that way anymore. And it's like, so bringing in, so I just held space for it. I held space for what was up for her. And I kept asking for clarity. What does that mean? What does that feel like? Where is it in your body? All those different things.
Well, help us real quick. Let's reframe this because I think it's really important for those who are listening. Maybe they didn't listen last time. Yeah. But what I'd like you to do is just go ahead and take a moment and kind of set the scene, what happened, what was going on, and what she actually said to you.
It was a divine union exercise, and so it was representing the divine. You were acting out divine union, whatever that looked like to you.
Well, divine union usually means Shakti, Shiva, the goddess and the god. In a transpersonal way, not a personal way, like not you, Lance, and her, whoever she was, but you two acting as divine beings, being in some form of union, maybe copulation, maybe not copulation, but sitting together, breathing together, being intimate.
Being intimate. And yes, that's exactly right. That's what the exercise was. And that's what happened. That's what came up, what I described.
Yep.
There was people in the room and they were engaging. There was people who were talking. There was all different sorts of things going on in the room around us. And she just expressed that. We did the bubble, the desires, fears, and boundaries.
Right.
And then we entered into that safe space with each other. And I asked her what was present. And that's what she said.
She said...
She said the pressure to engage.
Right.
Why do I always feel pressure?
Why do I always feel pressure to engage?
I don't want to feel the pressure to engage. Like being here with a man or being here in this space creates that I have to do something about it. Like I have to be here and I have to give something or I took it as she feels like she's giving something up and doesn't want to.
So
She wants to be in choice.
that makes sense. And to add to that just slightly, that is exactly what Laurie was talking about when she mentioned, women sometimes don't want to go on a date with a guy to dinner or something like that where he's going to spend, money.
Yeah.
And that she feels pressure because now she feels like she owes him something. Mm-hmm. And so that's interesting to me because and I don't know how many men have it that, hey, I'm buying you dinner, you better put out. Like, I don't know how many men are like that, but the pressure's still there, whether men show up with that intention or not. Yeah. Right? It's like, it's always there.
I can speak from past experience. Just for myself, I had that.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, like you were paying for something, and so she was going to...
Especially when I was in the club business and I had a bar. Mm-hmm. You drank for free all night.
You're going home with me.
You drank for free all
I
night.
say it and my stomach goes, oh, you're gross. Like,
right.
I'm judging myself right now, which is justifiable shame, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, that was a reality for you, and that's kind of
where I was at.
Sure.
Right?
And there are men out there that are that way. There are men that are just that way. I like to put it this way.
Wait a minute, and there are women out there that are that way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The more
you better buy
the more
me.
you spend, the more you buy me, the more I'll give you.
Didn't you mention one time that, women had like this rule that, you take me out 3 times and spend this much on those dinners?
And I'll sleep with you. A lot of women have the 3-time rule. Yep. But I want to say, I changed the rule that if I'm going out with when I was doing like internet dating, if I went out with someone I liked, I would let him pay because I liked him. If I didn't like him, I would immediately pick up the bill.
Ooh, and that was the indicator right there. She didn't like. So if you were one of those guys, if she paid,
I changed those rules.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And then I also used to feel, this is because of me, who I am. It's not. I don't know if it's universal, but I used to feel like I have so much to offer. Even if I'm just sitting across the table from you, you better pay because I'm entertaining.
I fucking love you.
I changed those rules for
That's
myself.
hilarious.
I made them my own.
Well,
I
it's
never
great.
felt pressure.
And that kind of lends us to our next topic. But before we move on from that, I want to say this: when it comes to pressure, right? There are a couple of ways that you can dispel that pressure. And one of the ways is through something called safety, like being a safe space for people, being a safe space for a woman, especially, or your beloved, your partner, could be male, female, whatever. But if you're a safe space for that person, then that pressure will be alleviated. And there are a couple of ways that we're going to talk about in a little while, how to do that. You've already mentioned it. I'm not going to give it away. But the next piece here, you did. The next piece here.
We'll roll with it.
That we want to talk about is what Laurie's talking about, and that is sovereignty, right? And how that shows up, allowing each person to hold their sovereignty. This really dispels pressure. I don't have to change for you. You don't have to change for me, and I don't have to give anything up, and you don't have to give anything up. And I like to say it this way: what do you bring into the party? Right? I've given this allegory so many, it's just an example, but when you go to a friend's house to a party and you knock on the door, are you the guy that's standing there and when they open the door, you're like, hey, what's going on? You high five them and you walk through, you're so glad to see everybody. But are you that guy, or are you the guy who, when they open the door, you're like, hey man, and you're handing over 12 packs and you're bringing like all this stuff you're bringing with you. You got the chips and the salsa and you're high fiving. Are you that guy, or are you the guy that just shows up expecting something?
No, wait a minute. No.
I want you to be the guy who shows up with something.
So I was brought up. I was brought up to never go to anybody's house without something.
Right. Never go empty-handed.
But I'm not bringing all the chips and all the salsa.
No.
And I'm not bringing a 12-pack and everything else. But I am bringing a bottle of wine because that's the least I could do. And depending upon who it is, I might bring a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
Because my mother brought me up to contribute to people, and I feel good about that.
Right. Well, and what I mean here is not in the sense of you're actually showing up to somebody's house. What I'm saying is, in this relating, you're showing up with something.
Oh yeah.
You're not just showing up trying to get. So men, we go out to a bar to get laid. We go out to get.
So do women.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish my allegory here.
Okay.
Men go out to get laid. How often do men go out to give pleasure? That's what I wonder.
No, they suck at that.
Yeah. When
they don't care.
When I was when I was legit single, going out and doing all this other stuff, and I discovered this idea of going from being somebody who's just going out to get to going out to be someone who was out to give a good time, have fun, be open to whatever happens, like no pressure.
You told me you used to go around the bar and meet everyone, and they would say, you'd say, I'm Mike G. And they would all go, oh, Mike G. Mike G, come on back, have a drink with us, Mike G. Like, you told me that you would introduce yourself to everybody.
It was something I learned from this guy named Brent Smith. And he said, be the mayor. The mayor kisses all the babies. The mayor shakes hands with everybody. How are you doing? So I would go around the bar, and this is fun to do. I would go around the bar and I would meet everybody. And I would say silly things like, hey, listen, great drinks at the bar. Go ahead and talk to so-and-so. They got you covered. And people would actually think I was the owner of the bar. I wasn't the owner of the bar. I was just so friendly. And I was there.
Mayor.
I was there to be the mayor and have a great time and give other people the feeling like they belonged.
That's how Marion Barry was.
Yeah.
I hate to think about how he ended up.
Well, in so many, right? That's something that really puts people at ease. So again, that safety factor, that factor of feeling like, I'm not just there to get something, because that's when people feel guarded.
Yeah.
Right?
They feel
Flip the
script.
Feel
like you're creepy.
Yep. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So I think that's something to think about. Now, the sovereignty piece is super important. So, Laurie, I'd like you to pick up on that piece right there and talk about sovereignty. What does it look like and how do you achieve it?
Okay. Sovereignty is, I'm my own person. I'm unto myself. There are some things from the Talmud. If I am not for myself, then who will be? If I am only for myself, then who will be for me? Like the Talmud asks that in the ancient scripts. The point about being sovereign is knowing that I am in my sovereignty. I'm whole and complete. I'm fine within myself. I don't need you out there. I don't need anybody out there. But I've done the work to feel complete in myself. I've done the emotional release to get rid of the holes and the dents in myself and the pieces that I couldn't be with. And now I can be with everything in me, and I don't need you to verify me. I don't need you to
validate
me. I don't need you to make me worthwhile. I am worthwhile as a sovereign being. I get to choose my yeses. I get to choose my no's. I don't feel any pressure. I only feel what I feel in the moment because I'm present. So this is dovetailing off of what we talked about in the last show. And it's also saying I did some work. I didn't get here just boom, I was born and I'm sovereign. No, I did the work that it took to exercise my demons and to self-evaluate as such that I'm whole and complete and I like myself and I love myself and I don't need to do anything to perform for you, whoever you are. I only do what I want to do. So we're talking about that. Pressure, sovereignty, and safety. All right, Lance?
Yeah, well, no, I'm wondering what I wanted to kind of bring it back to, because I have like some personal experience with this, is the sovereignty piece. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. But there's people out there that see that as a sense of selfishness in the world. Like having, just with some of the language, and I've received this feedback.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. It hit me to go there with it.
Okay.
And to talk about it a little bit and maybe see what you had to say about that. I don't agree.
I don't.
Because what it tells me is that they're just missing their own sovereignty.
Yeah.
And they're obviously projecting outside themselves onto other people. Which makes sense, but also maybe how do you actually speak to somebody about that and share with them maybe a path or how they could get into that place of sovereignty. Like I know you mentioned emotional release.